Welcome back, folks, to the Mel Wright Show. This is episode 261. We've got a great show. I'm excited to have our guest, Austin Glanzer, on the show. We're going to be talking of all things TikTok, and I know nothing about TikTok, so I'm going to be really in Austin's hands. I also got my great co-host, Robert Newman, with me. We're going to be just delving deep into this new platform. And then we're going to be talking about some of Austin's experiences of flipping properties, being involved in digital marketing in general. It should be an interesting show. So, Austin, can you quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for just making the time for me to come on here. I'm really excited to just talk about some of my experiences. Yes, I'm Austin. I live in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I actually just had my first child 1 week ago, literally right now.
He's a daddy. He's a new daddy.
Yes, I am. So that's the biggest thing in my world. I haven't really been able to do too much.
You look too rested and relaxed, Austin. What's going on?
Well, you know, to be honest, my wife is like taking care of the baby so well. So it's been a little bit easy for me. He's a great kid. We're really excited. We named him Axel. So that is.
You got a Guns N' Roses fan?
Well, actually, everybody has asked me that. It was my grandfather's name. So,
okay.
Yep. But yes, I've had probably 10 people send me Guns N' Roses songs since I named my son Axel. But yeah, it's kind of cool how the name kind of came around because he was from Germany and he was named Axel back in the 1930s. So named him after him.
Oh, that's great. And I've got my great co-host with me. I'd like to quickly introduce yourself, Robert, to the new listeners and viewers.
Well, not really. Not today. I'm going to say that, hey, guys, I do real estate SEO. And if you want to learn more about that, not about me, but just go to my website, inboundrem.com. I'll teach you a lot that you need to know about inbound marketing and a different way to approach marketing. But I'll do the introductions at the end of the show.
Yep. And I'm the CEO of Mel Wright. It's a platform that helps you get quality buyer and seller leads. It uses the power of Facebook advertising, but it's much, much, much more than that. It's a coherent marketing platform in one interface. If that sounds of interest to you, and it should, go over to the Mel Wright website and find out more about our product services. And you can have a free consultation with me personally over Zoom, if that sounds fun. So, Austin, TikTok, you know, it's been in the news, obviously. Oracle and I think Walmart have bought it or something, or maybe just Oracle on its own. And it's a video. I know it's a video platform, but I've not used it. So you've been, obviously, I was intrigued that you wanted to talk about it. So obviously, I presume you've been using it for marketing for real estate. So can you tell us more about TikTok and what you like about it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting time for me to be doing an interview on TikTok because you're right. Trump, he, basically said, no more TikTok, right? And I think he also banned
it's all those shares he has in Twitter, so Austin.
Yeah. He said no more TikTok. So, which, could be the right decision if we're actually getting spied on, who knows? But kind of that to the side, yes, Oracle and Walmart are working on purchasing it. So I think at the current moment, if someone's watching this and they want to download TikTok, you can't actually download it right now. It's blocked, but they are going to update that once an American company moves in and acquires it kind of fully. So it is an interesting time for me to talk about it, but I still am a huge believer in it because it's been one of the best ways for me to get my content out there organically. I have had just these videos I never would have thought would have gone viral. And yeah, I mean, I've gotten multiple millions of views just from quick tips about real estate. And I definitely think if someone's watching this that has a unique niche or niche, I don't know how you say it in Great Britain, niche,
Oh,
you know,
you don't want to follow my pronunciation because
okay.
half the time I can't even pronounce our guests' names. So,
Pronunciation, yeah,
you
that's
know,
right
half
there,
the
right,
guests,
right in that word.
half the guests won't even talk to me now because I couldn't even pronounce the name correctly. So,
Well, don't worry. You did actually pronounce my name incorrectly too, but I wasn't gonna say anything. So.
oh right, I thought I'd
No,
done a reasonable job
no,
there.
it doesn't even bother me at all. People
Yeah,
pronounce it wrong all the time.
right.
Um, but anyways, yeah, it's a platform that if you have a cool niche in real estate, whether it's you're an agent in a specific area, you know, you're doing some cool stuff with flipping, like a new term, astro flipping is out there. You're wholetailing, you're wholesaling. You should be making videos on TikTok about what you're doing and how to do it, because those tutorial videos are a great way to get onto the organic page of TikTok. So that way they start showing it to people who.
But can we start on the basics before I throw it
Yeah,
over to Robert?
even more basic. Yeah.
Why do you think it's taken off as a platform? What makes it different to other video hosting platforms? You know, what is its key source in a way, Austin?
I personally think, in my experience with it, is they have gotten better. I guess I should dumb it down even a little bit more real quick here. If you don't know what TikTok is, or you haven't really looked at TikTok, it is just a video social media, no pictures. It's just 15 to 60-second videos that you can put on your page, and people can go to you to watch your content. So it's kind of a hybrid of YouTube and Instagram. So the reason that I kind of believe in it the most is because their platform has gotten better and better at understanding what you, the user, are interested in.
Oh.
So I have found that my videos are starting to get shown to the right people, and that has grown my my mailing list, my email list. It's grown my website. You know, I've gotten links to other websites through it. So I've been able to use it to connect with real people who are interested in what I have to say.
Right, that's great. Over to you, Robert.
So, Austin, I usually focus on numbers, and I honestly, you emailed me before you emailed John, which is rare because our partnership usually works that he's gonna book the guests, and I'm kind of giving that little bit of history and background because somehow or another you came across some videos or some blog posts of mine, and then you reached out to me and somehow found the podcast through my site, which I don't really point it out as much as the MailRite site does. And then we booked the thing. And the reason I booked with you is I was curious about the following information about TikTok. So we hear about TikTok all the goddamn time. And you're the first person that I've met that does anything real estate related. And so that our audience is clear, you're a flipper, right? You're an investor. That's what you do. Am I right on that? Okay.
Yeah, correct.
So most of our guests have something to do with the residential real estate industry, which is slightly different than the fix or flip or investment or like bigger pockets type of information. But where you got me, where you really sunk the hook in deep, was you said you had 70,000 followers on TikTok. And I've not yet met directly anybody that had such a big following in any real estate related field. So here's my following questions. You've also said in this conversation that you've had millions of people view videos. I presume that part of what you were talking about is what you do in terms of investing. Is that correct? A correct assumption or a false assumption?
Yeah. Okay. So that is a correct assumption, and it's also a false assumption.
Okay.
So yeah, some of my videos have been around investing specifically. Some of my videos, I kind of do a broad real estate just tip page. So, you know, for someone who's just a residential real estate agent, one of my best videos was just a video about how you can get seller's assist when buying a home. I got like 3 million views. And I actually think I got 100,000 shares, which was crazy to me. So yeah, I've had videos that were specifically just about residential real estate that have taken off as well.
Okay. And for you, when you're doing all this TikTok content, whether it be aimed at residential real estate or whether it be aimed at something else, what is your desired result? So, because we're talking about TikTok as a marketing platform, and you're talking about these videos that you've done that seem to be, from the sound of it, geared with like trying to appeal to a particular market, which would be marketing in general. So what are you trying to accomplish? Who is it that you're trying to get a hold of? Are you trying to get a hold of investors?
Yeah, it's kind of twofold for me. Specifically, so I have a marketing business myself as well, and we do at Google AdWords to find motivated sellers. So I have that piece of it that I just want to specifically get people who are into investing that want to get motivated sellers in their area. So that's one of the pieces that I want to get to those people. And then there's kind of just a broader part of it where anybody who's interested in real estate. I've done a couple free resources for people where they can go through the link in my bio on TikTok and download Excel sheets, download multiple like marketing marketing PDFs to follow. I'll get their email address, and then I'm able to build my email following and send out blog posts and just kind of grow my following of people who are interested in real estate at the current moment. And I got that idea from, what's the book's name? Atomic Habits. The guy, if you've heard of that book, that's kind of how he started his career, actually, was he just grew his email list and got people to trust him. So. Okay.
So really you're just collecting.
I'll just, before we go any further, we need to go for our break, but we'll be continue. Sorry, Robert. I know I'm always rude.
I'm always the one getting in.
Yeah, but we have to go for our break, folks. We'll be back in a few moments. We're coming back. We're engaged in a TikTok discussion. We'll talk about a platform which I know nothing about, but Austin has done a really good job of explaining some of the basics. And also, as normal, I rudely interrupted my co-host, but I apologize, Robert. Back over to you, Robert.
Okay, so I legitimately don't remember where I was going with the previous statement, but I have another one, so it doesn't really matter, because TikTok fascinates me, because you said, okay, I'm a marketing company and I'm building my list. That's kind of what I heard. Is that a good summarization? Yeah. Okay. All right, which is totally fair. So you're building an audience and you're trying to attract a list. So you're collecting email addresses. So since that's your end objective with TikTok, and you're one of the only TikTok marketers that I've talked to so far, how successful are you willing to share with us how many, let's call it, email addresses have you actually collected with your TikTok efforts? Like what has been the net result for you?
Yeah, and can you also go through the mechanics? Because I presume you just don't get them through the interface. You have to send them to your website or a landing page. Can you go through the mechanics as well?
Yeah, so I can do both of those. So when I first started TikTok, I kind of felt like, I think this is here to stay. This was maybe back in January of this year. So I was like, I think I can be an early mover on this. I looked up the word real estate on TikTok, and there just weren't many people. There were maybe 2 or 3 that had good content. Other than that, it was just kind of people who made a real estate page and weren't keeping it populated. So I was like, I think if I just start posting consistently about real estate, my page will grow. So I think how it worked was I made 5 videos and just posted them all, went to bed, woke up, and my notifications were out the wazoo. I had all these comments. I had all of these likes and stuff. And I was like, holy cow, this is really cool. And I kept posting these videos. I didn't realize at that time how powerful it actually was, and that there were real people who liked my content. It didn't hit me oh, wow, people are actually coming to my page for information. So I didn't actually start collecting email addresses until this summer. So I was making all these videos, I didn't know what to do until I finally made a video that was I made a flipping calculator, just an Excel sheet. People could go through the link in my bio, to my website, and then they could download that Excel sheet on my website. So, and you know, when you talk about conversion optimization, that's kind of a lot of clicks. Like they had to go to my page, they had to click my bio, they had to go to my website and download something, right? There's like 4 steps there. So, I think on that first one, I probably had like 250 people download it. And I was like, holy cow, like this is really cool. I had 250 people watch my video, go through and download something. And then I was like, okay, well, let me keep doing this. So I started making some more things. I had 200 people, 150. I just recently made another flipping calculator. It was like a little bit more in detail. It had a mortgage calculator involved in that, just all in Excel. And in the first 24 hours, I had 1,000 people download it. And my website was just like blowing up. I mean, my traffic went up, whatever that is, 2,000%. And just from me making a video, and I'm not even kidding you, the video took me 12 minutes. The Excel sheet maybe took me, I don't know, an hour to make. And the video, it was just me recording myself, just saying, hey, here's an Excel sheet to help you flip a house. And I recorded my screen. Like I literally took my iPhone. I didn't like do a screen recording. I took my iPhone like this and just like showed what the Excel sheet looked like and said, you can get it in my bio. So at the current moment, I have 4,200 people since June that have given me their email address for resources that I have.
Now, is there any insights about the actual audience? Because I think I've got to be honest. I was presuming this myself, that it was a very young audience, and I would say I would kind of pass. My attitude would be what the initial attitude to Instagram would be, that it's a very young audience and they're not really the target audience. But through your activities, you're kind of proving that incorrect. So do you think the media in general got it wrong to some extent about what the audience is that's using TikTok?
Okay, I don't think the media is wrong about that. It is a younger audience. Like the majority of people who are on TikTok are junior high, teenagers, college students. But that doesn't mean that there is still 40 million adults on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, like absolutely. 50 million adults. There are, I can't remember, there's like 1 billion users or close to 1 billion. And, you know, there's a lot of adults. So I have a friend, a good friend of mine from college, who started making golf trick shots. And it's more for kids, kind of like Dude Perfect, if you know Dude Perfect on YouTube. And he had some videos literally explode. And he's up to 1.3 million followers because his target market is kids, right? It's my target market is older adults, right? Or at least college students who have, or maybe they're just out of college, who want to get in.
Aspirational millenniums.
Exactly. So, you know, I have 70,000 and I personally feel like that's pretty good because my 70,000 isn't just like little kids. You know, it's like who want to watch real estate stuff. Like I have a lot of people who are legit interested in real estate. But my friend has 1.5 million or 1.3 million. And he's getting sponsored by stuff like NBC just sponsored one of his videos for golf. So
right. So here's what my comment is for the audience, because John and I both come at this from different perspectives. I'm not familiar with TikTok. I am deeply and intimately familiar with how much effort it takes to become an expert in any social platform. And I'm going to tell everybody in the audience right now, I'm going to choose to take a pass on TikTok right now. However, what I would say to anybody that's looking at it is I strongly believe that if you are looking for something that somebody isn't doing, if you're looking for a low barrier of entry, if you're a new real estate agent or you're trying to do something different, which essentially is what I hear Austin telling us as an audience, is that he looked at it in January, which is really in the world that we live in, that's not that long ago. And now he's got 70,000 users. Your barrier to producing original or different content on there is going to be very low because it's not yet adopted. And my experience with everything, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, is that early adopters who come in and take the chance and build an audience, that momentum, regardless of who the audience is, whether it's college students or junior high students, that momentum carries them into the full bloom of that platform. So in other words, as people who are your market come onto the platform and you've already got 200,000 users, that is worth actual money to you. Being there first, having a big audience, doesn't really necessarily mean that the audience you're engaging with originally is going to result in a ton of revenue for you right away. However, that social presence might very well be wildly impactful for you, because the second the ByteDance deal goes through and everybody understands that TikTok is here to stay, I really have already had realtors asking me, should I be producing video for TikTok? And my answer is, I don't really know enough about it, which is one of the reasons I brought you onto the show. Now I'm looking at a guy that's talking about real estate, and you've got 70,000 followers in 8 months. That is enormously impressive. So I'm going to change my recommendation to say, if there's anybody out there on the show who's looking for something new to do, this actually sounds promising. And I suggest that you follow Austin and look at what he's been doing. I always tell people, Austin, to emulate content, like emulate content type, don't reinvent the wheel. People are going to call me or message me on my website and ask me what specifically should I do. My answer is always going to be the same. Hey, I'm not the guy that's doing this. So go to the guys that are and kind of model yourself after them until you come up with some of your own creative, interesting ideas, and then run with that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We're going to wrap up the podcast part of the show. Austin has agreed to stay on for some bonus content, which you can see on the Mel Wright YouTube channel. You'll be able to see the whole interview, but the bonus content as well. We're going to be talking about his flipping activities and investment activities, which I think in the coming months are going to be very important if you're a real estate agent. I think it's going to become more of a professional investment market in the coming months, but that's my opinion. I'll be totally wrong. Do not listen to any investment advice from me. You would be bonkers. But Austin, Robert is just shaking his head. It's just true, just truthful. You'd be mad to listen to me.
That's a hell of a disclaimer. Don't listen to me.
I do not want anybody coming and blaming me for losing their shirt. I want nothing to do with it. Austin, obviously, you know a lot about TikTok. I think you also got a special offer that you want to offer to our listeners and viewers. And like you say, you also do a lot of work with Google paid advertising. So what's the best way for people to find out more about you, the special offer, any links that you want to air to our audience?
Yeah, for sure. So if anybody is watching this and they're interested, I know you guys both have Facebook advertising and SEO, businesses. So, first, if you're a listener, faithful listener to Mel Wright, check those guys out. Check out their website. I'm a competitor, but we do AdWords and SEO for people as well to find motivated sellers. So if you're into investing, wholesaling, we've done stuff for realtors as well. You can go to glanzer.com. So that's GLANZAIR.com. And you can get all the information on there. You can get some of the free resources on there as well. And I also have a podcast. So I have the Real Estate Marketing Podcast that you can check out. That's on my website as well.
Oh, that's
So I think how he found us, man, is he was trying to probably search for himself and he came across the Mel Wright Show.
Yeah, I can't remember how I found you guys. I think I was looking up real estate marketing and I saw your website and I was like, you know what? I think I could probably talk about TikTok or what we're doing. So I think that's kind of how it all worked. You were right.
You did a great job. Robert, how can people find out more about you and what you are up to?
You can go to inboundrem.com. I've got the leading website on real estate SEO info. I don't expect anybody to take my word for it. Why don't you just go to the site, check it out. I am, however, going to pitch somebody right in front of all of you. So if you want to see how you get it to be a guest on a podcast, listen very carefully. Hey, I would like to be on your podcast, Austin, because I think you offered me the trade. Do I remember that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we're off this show, will you do me a favor and email me the information?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
we can make that happen.
There you go, guys. That's how you get on a podcast for those that are curious and are looking for an extra tip from the show. Okay, John, how can people find you, reach you, get a hold of
It's
your
really
special
very
offer,
easy.
take advantage of your amazing consultation, and listen to your English dulcet tones
That's why
for
they
at least 30 minutes? Yeah.
Most of the people that have signed up for the consultation say that it's just because of my English accent, but I don't care. You can sign up for a free consultation from me on the Mailright website. Also, we've got a load of information on there. It's a superb product. We've been getting some decent results for our clientele so far. In the last couple of months. It's very encouraging. Go over and find out more. Like I say, we're going to be talking about flipping with Austin and his experiences of that. It should be a fascinating discussion, which you will be able to listen and watch on the Mailright YouTube channel. We'll be back next week with another guest. Actually, I've found some really fantastic guests like Austin in the coming weeks. And we've got some really interesting discussions coming up. So tell anybody tell other people that they should join us and be part of the podcast show. We'll be back next week, folks. Bye. So, Austin, your flipping career, you were talking about multifamily. So how did you get into flipping, and how long you've been doing it, and what some of your biggest success stories that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I guess I could share two here briefly. I guess the first one I ever did was...
First of all, how did you get into the world of flipping?
Yeah. So, I can kind of go through that. So, my wife and I was doing marketing. My wife actually worked at our church. She was the children's ministry director there. And then I was doing marketing for a ministry as well. So, we were making fine money, but I was just kind of like, I think for long term, I need to do some investing in other ways, right? So, you can only get paid so much at a ministry. So anyways, I was like, I need to look into investing into real estate. So I started going, hey, we should buy a house. And then I very quickly switched to, we should save and buy a house cash. And then I switched to, hey, we should buy a duplex. And then I switched to, hey, we should buy a triplex. So, I did all that switching within 6 months. I threw my wife, just a curveball every 2 seconds. We ended up buying a triplex with an FHA loan. So we only had to put 3.5% down. And we were able to rent out 2 of the units and live in one of them. And we were actually able to cover our entire mortgage and a little bit more. So we were able to live. I think the numbers worked out. We made $85 a month to live in our apartment. So that was our first one. And I was like, this is really cool.
What was the process of actually finding that first property? Because that, obviously I'm not being discouraging, but you've made it, which is, you're bound to do it, is you've made it sound reasonably easy to get from A to B. But my experience is a little bit more windy a journey than you're bound to make it sound, really.
You're totally right. It was not that easy, and I did make it sound easy. I was looking up stuff like every day on the market. I had a friend who was a realtor. I was looking up any multi-unit in my area. So I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talked in the book about how he literally walked around the city to see if there were any houses that were kind of like looked different or run down. So I was literally walking around the city I'm in to, look up some stuff, look at houses, and went to leave. So we got in the car, my wife and I were driving, and I saw this building getting flipped. So, and it looked like a triplex. It looked like a multi-unit. So I just got out of the car. Turned out the owner was there. He was almost done flipping it, and he was about to put it on the market. So I went out and I said, hey, are you selling this? And he said, yeah. I said, I want to buy it. So we worked out a price just between he and I. We didn't have to worry about anybody else, other offers coming in.
Now, are you prepared? If you're not, I totally understand. But are you prepared to give some figures, what kind of money are we talking about to actually buy, the cash price? I know you got a loan and you said you had to put 3% down, but roughly, if you're not happy in giving us the precise figures, what kind of amount of money are we talking about?
Yeah, so it's going to be way different depending on where you live. But where I'm at, it's about $100,000 a unit for what you're going to pay. So I paid, I think it was like $312,000 for my triplex. That was turnkey. So two of the units were completely done, remodeled. One of the units, the one we lived in, we had to fix up a little bit. We had to put maybe like $8,000 into it. Mm-hmm. So I was all in at $320,000. So my monthly payment on that was right around $2,200 with taxes. And I rented out one of the units for $1,100, and I rented out another unit for $1,200. So what was, and now I rent all three out.
Yeah. So what was the process? Was it a very painful process actually getting the loan?
You know what? It wasn't crazy painful. It was a lot of paperwork for an FHA loan. I had to prove that I had income. I had to send my W-2s, I have a credit score. My credit score, I think, had to be above 650. They do all these background checks and stuff. So it wasn't the worst thing I've ever done, but it was a lot of busy work.
Right. So what are some of the things about buying that type of property that you think you can give, some insights that you think the listeners and viewers really got to understand about that particular type of property that you to buy? That's a bit different than buying a residential home, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit different. I would say something you have to look out for that a lot of people don't think about. So there's a lot of people, like Bigger Pockets has basically coined the term house hack, and where you live in one unit, rent out the other. It sounds really easy, and people look into it, right? Like there's a lot of young people who are like, I want a house hack. I get DMs on TikTok all the time. How do you house hack? But they don't realize if you use an FHA loan, you have to live in that house for a full year. It's just a requirement. Sure. And so people find these deals, but the house is fully rented and there are great tenants in there. So like you have to live in the house for a year. So what are you going to do? Buy it and then, choose which tenant to kick out, which you legally can in a lot of states, but that's kind of a pain. People don't like you. You have to go through that. So people don't realize, like, you want to find a place if you can.
Well, I've got a tip there because I actually own the fourplex that I live in.
Oh, yeah, great.
But I choose to use the services of a managed agent. So the actual other tenants do not know that I own the building.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I'm not prepared to deal with what you've just stated. So I don't want them to know that I own the building.
Yeah. And I've definitely had my fair share of bad tenants. Like my first tenants I had, they were not great tenants by any means. They really made my life difficult, but that's kind of behind. I have good tenants now in there. They take care of the house. So, I feel pretty good about it. So if you're wanting to do this with an FHA loan, I would find a place that is vacant, that you don't have to kick somebody out and start out a really bad relationship with your other tenants. Cause a lot of times like they're friends or they're, so I've seen people run into that as an issue.
So number one tip is I think what you're saying is have enough financial resources so you don't have to take the first tenant that comes knocking on your door. I think.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I tell people when they ask me, hey, I want to invest, I would always say, especially if you're younger, I don't know if there's a lot of younger people listening to this, but I would have an extra $10,000 saved on top of your down payment and everything, just for something that can go wrong. I would make sure you have an extra.
Now, would I say that, you said you've had some bad tenants. Have you, looking back, have you learned some of the signs, a pattern that you can observe that now when somebody comes on your radar, you know this is somebody I probably don't want to rent my apartment to?
Yeah, one of the ways that I do this, and it's been super easy, is I put my house up on Zillow to rent, right? You can do it for free, and then Zillow actually has an application that's how Zillow makes their money. The tenant will pay to apply through Zillow. So I get from Zillow their credit score, their criminal history, and their current employment. So I can basically make a quantitative decision, not based off of, how someone looks or, how they smell or anything. I can basically make a decision like, well, your credit score is 300. I'm not going to take you. Or no, you were just in jail. Like, I'm not going to put you in my house with other tenants. So that makes it super easy. I just use Zillow.
Oh, right. That's a great tip. Over to you, Robert.
It's funny because I make my living in real estate, but the investing side is big of a market as I understand that it is. I've stayed away from it a bit, but I'm on your website, Glanzer, and I'm noticing that you offer investor websites. You're obviously deeply involved. Like I think that part of what you wanted to talk to us about was investing opportunities. So let me say that you're not in Los Angeles. You're in a secondary market that's not quite the insanity that it is here. What do you advise somebody to do if they want to get into property investing? Like, what would you tell your brother if he called you up and said, "You look like you're doing pretty good. What should I do?"
Okay, first thing I would do is talk to somebody who's doing it, right away. Super simple. You can go get coffee with somebody that is successful.
And there's investment groups in any kind of city, isn't there, or town or region? There's investment groups that you can join, isn't there?
Yes. Oh, for sure. I mean, there's tons of Facebook groups, especially, if you're listening in Oklahoma City, just look up real estate group on Facebook and there will be like 3 of them. So, so that'd be the first, most basic step. Go talk to somebody. But
okay,
and this is actually the second property I was going to talk about. So this ties in perfectly.
Sure.
When we wanted to get into real estate, my business partner and I, he was saying, hey, we really need to build a website saying that we buy houses and then run Google ads to it. Okay. So I didn't really believe in it, to be honest with you. I told him, like, dude, I don't know if I want to spend AdWords on this. Like, it's really expensive. I don't know if I want to drop like $1,000 this month on AdWords. Well, and it doesn't work like this for everybody. Don't get me wrong. It does not work like this, but this happened to us. True story. No joke.
You're going to use the same disclaimer language as I use.
Yeah. It doesn't work like this for everybody. Yeah. But in the first 24 hours, we got a lead. We called him. He said, I need to sell my home like tomorrow. And we were like, okay. He's like, I'm really in a pinch. I need to sell it.
Well, he was a good negotiator, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He said he needed the home sold. He needed $26,000 for it in the city nearby me, in kind of a rougher area. Not horrible, but the house was rough. So I think we sold it. I think we bought it that week for $24,000. I don't remember how the numbers worked exactly, but we bought it that week for $24,000. We, he was pumped. He was pumped because I think he had back taxes or something. We gave him cash, listed it. We cleaned it, listed it for $68,000 and sold it the next week. So I was like, I love Google AdWords. Like, this is awesome. So
a convert.
Yeah. So anyways, we did it. We, whatever that was, I think we made after everything was done.
There's no chance that would happen to me. It's never. I have no stories, listeners and viewers like that, because the only time I've ever made any money like that is just through hard graft. Right.
Yeah. Right. So that was really lucky. We've had like 2 of those since then that were that easy. there's always something, we sold a house this morning and there was a squatter in the house last minute, that type of stuff. Got to work on that. But yeah, so like I would suggest somebody build a website saying that you buy homes, make it super local to your area, and talk about how you are local, talk about how you live in the area, how you invest in the area, and have a simple lead form and run ads to it. That'd be the great way to start, and then get advice from people who have done it. So if you actually get a lead, you can go to someone and be like, hey, I actually have a house. I don't know what to do with it.
All right, I think we're about out of time, but before John wraps up the show, I want to give everybody a piece of advice while we're on the show with the guest. So, guys, this is a rare opportunity. I can tell by looking at Glenn. What was your first name again? Austin. So Austin's website. My bad. I'm having a rough morning, guys. I haven't slept very much, but Austin's website. That he's newer into some of the marketing things that he's offering. Now, my personal view is I think he's very talented. So oftentimes when somebody like me or him or anybody else is trying to get a marketing company,
would you say I'm talented, Robert?
I'd say you're determined. Right. You have talent, but I think you're, as you just said yourself, without me having to put myself under a heavy, weighty object, you make most of your dent of success through graft, which is a fancy way of saying you work really, really hard. And I would say that about you. I'd say you're one of the hardest working guys I know. So, which is good. But does it come super easy for you? I don't know about that. But does it come super easy for?
He just doesn't know, listeners of viewers. My talent.
Listen, don't ask me an opinion on air unless you want what I think, because I don't know how any other way to be other than straightforward. But Austin is one of these guys.
That's what I love about you, Robert. That's what I love about you.
He's a talented young guy, and maybe, just maybe, if any of you are interested in any of the things he's talking about, maybe you can call him and get a deal from him in terms of being a case study, in case that's the direction he's going with marketing himself in the future. That's my thought. I'm saying it right in front of Austin because I would say it offline, so I'm going to say it in front of you. You're always looking for those new and upcoming marketers that may be able to make a dent. And I know that I gave incredible deals to my first customers trying to get case studies because I had no proof that I could do the stuff that I said I could do. And now all the clients I take on currently pay for those case studies because I prove it now, of course. So they pay for that proof.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm going to wrap it up. Austin, you have to come back in the new year. We're going to have another. I actually think it's been a fantastic discussion. I think we've covered some really interesting aspects of the real estate industry. Thank you so much, Austin. Like I said, folks, we've got some fantastic guests coming up. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you, Austin. Bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm so freaking tired, guys, that